It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Get ready for epic savings at Best Buy. Right now, you can save up to $700 on select Alienware and Dell gaming products. Perfect for leveling up your gaming experience. Plus, grab the latest Android Google Pixel at an unbeatable price. Don't miss these incredible deals. Shop now at bestbuy.com and upgrade your tech today.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Ready to bring your vision to life? At Small Rig, every idea, design, and product is inspired by you, the creator. With our industry-first under co-design mode and the Dream Rig free customization project, we unite with global creators to turn big dreams into reality. Whether it's a cage rig or mount, Small Rig's versatile gear is built to elevate your craft. Small Rig, where your creativity meets our innovation. Go to smallrig.com.
At Rolls Rolla, we don't just sell wallpaper, we create cohesive, cozy spaces. Our deep understanding of design means every pattern, color, and texture is carefully chosen to complement your home. Plus, we use advanced technology and water-based inks for vibrant, eco-friendly prints, ensuring a healthier environment. Visit rollsrolla.com to transform your space today. That's ROLLSROLLA.com today. At 25 Home, our ultimate goal is to provide you with a transformative experience, making each day feel like it has an extra hour. We believe your home is more than just a space, it's a sanctuary where comfort, relaxation, and happiness thrive. Discover the difference at 25 Home today. Shop now at 25home.com.
The Pete Sousa Show. We are live now in Irvine, California. Just finished up the quarterfinals of the NIT. UC Irvine victorious over UAB. Final score was a 4-point spread, so it was the final was a 4-point spread, 81-77. A great game. I mean, I'd never been to this arena. I'd never been to Irvine. At least if I was in the past, I wasn't aware of it. I was just driving through. An amazing place to go. You're in Orange County, so it's just beautiful. And the instant reaction to the game is like, man, when you get two teams playing in March and it's win or go home, and and nowadays I think sometimes we cling to, if it's not the NCAA tournament, these teams won out, guys are going to transfer. That was not the case in this game. We had, Jax Lendeborg, who is a potential first-round pick at a UAB who played down to the last second of this game. He can come back to college basketball if he puts his name in for the draft and he doesn't get the type of reception he's looking for. But I think he is a reflection of the type of game that we saw tonight. One of the better players in the country playing down to his last second of college basketball. He had a chance to win the game in regulation, but he was called for a travel on a possession that was sort of like an isolation for him. A couple big moments were there for him. He was unable to cash in. In the NBA, he would be more of a supporting role guy anyways, wherever he goes. You would have liked to see the dog in him a little bit more. He likes to defer to his teammates, probably a little too much for a guy who, everybody in the NBA is an alpha. You can defer to teammates, but, in your soul, there's got to be like a dog in you, I think scouts would say. But, Yax Lendeborg is a guy who you will be hearing about if you haven't heard about him already. Great player for UAB, 6'8", every bit of 240, and just very smooth for a body that big. So that's a guy to keep an eye out for. You are watching the Pete Sousa Show presented by Slovacics. Not live in Irvine. We are in Irvine. I didn't wake up this morning and put a shirt and tie on. Not that I don't think so highly of the audience that we have at the Pete Sousa Show, but truth of the matter is I'm spent. We just got done the game here. It is it's only 9 o'clock West Coast time, but I'm dying to get back home, sleep in my own bed tomorrow night, come to the studio tomorrow being Friday now, and get a fresh show in. I'll fly back tomorrow morning. I'll be in the air at the time the show is on, so I wanted to record something now. And then I'll do the Big 12 show with King McClure. And then that'll be at 1 o'clock. I'll tape that, or 2 now. And then I have some softball this weekend. But, going forward, guys, we're now bearing down on the Pete Sousa Show. I'm telling you, it's about to get crazy, okay? Basketball season is over. That's the last game I'll work. Unless something unforeseen pops up. But this is the latest I've ever worked into the season. So pumped about that. Finishing the year with a bunch of big games like this has been awesome. During the regular season, it was all Big 12, and postseason, you can't beat, if you're me, doing a lot of games on ESPN2 to wrap things up. So super grateful for that. And 1, 2, 3. I'm checking to make sure the mic's on. I think it is. If it's not, I'm just going to have Scotty sync this. No, but super grateful to do a bunch of big games. As a guy who does play-by-play, if you're lucky like I am to draw, I've been calling the Big 12 since I've been calling games. That's some of the best basketball in the country. You sort of do that during the regular season and then to be put on the NIT. And as much as you're competing with the NCAA tournament, you're doing primetime games on ESPN or ESPN2, in March. You can't ask for much more. So, I'm so thrilled with how things went this season. I honestly, I've said this for a long time, but I'm not a total homer. Like, ESPN is the best employer. You do your job, they'll do theirs. I've learned that. You come to the table with pure intentions and a full heart and a clear mind, and you want to bust your ass. They got a spot for you. The hardest part, I can tell anybody this, is just breaking through. I hope to continue to stay. I'm so grateful. But yeah, I bust my freaking butt doing this, and I love it. It's sometimes I think I'm like, wow, I can't believe this. I'm very, very fortunate. So thanks to my mom and my dad for never giving up on me. And for, I was 34 years old and I was at rock bottom, dude. Addicted to alcohol, drugs, hopeless, man. And, I had the gift of desperation, checked into a rehab, 13 years ago, and here we are today. So never give up on, any goals you're chasing, even if you think they're the most inconceivable things in the world. Like, I can tell you, and I've said this before, but I can remember sitting in, I remember watching the first round and second round of the NIT or the NCAA in 2011 from a halfway house. I watched a lot of sporting events from a halfway house, in fact. Many years later, here I am. So, but I put in a lot of work, like in sobriety, stay in recovery, trying to keep it strong. Sometimes I've been weaker than others. I need to, if we're talking about life and recovery now, I need to kind of get back to meetings and plug in. Because, anything you put in front of your sobriety, you'll lose. That's what they tell us. So that's another thing. The payoff with Pete is coming back, baby. The payoff with Pete, stories of sobriety. I guess we'll do it in April. We'll relaunch, right around my mom's birthday, April 7th. We'll get it going as a thank you to her, and I'll also get her a real present. But it's been a great season, and I had a chance to work with Scott Williams again tonight. Scott's been an absolute pleasure, but a lot of fun, and it's been a lot. It's just tonight's game was another great example of just live sports is the best theater ever. The game went to overtime. It was 5,000 people fit into this arena at Irvine. We're in Orange County, California, so it's this beautiful area. The arena was really nice. Wasn't sold out or anything, but it was a good crowd there, really good energy, and a fun game. And at halftime of the game, I was scrolling through to check like Twitter, because I have this terrible habit of checking to see like what people are saying about me, if they're saying anything negative, which is the dumbest thing you can do. And I would say to any young broadcaster, do not do that. But I do it. And it has helped at times. Like if I've been saying somebody's name wrong, somebody will blast it out all over the World Wide Web or the intranet. And sometimes they'll get to me before I can get to a correction, or the producer can pass along the correction. So it's served me sometimes, but more often than not, it's just another thing that you can get into your head, right? Where you can just start telling yourself more lies. So probably not the healthiest thing in the world. But when I was checking Twitter, I came across the John Rothstein report about the fact that Villanova is the only Power 4 job that is still available and does not have a head coach. And that we're now waiting on Kevin Willard from Maryland. I say we because, I grew up literally in the shadows of Villanova. I always talk about that. My mom worked at the athletic department. You've heard this before. And if you haven't, welcome aboard. But a strong affiliation with Villanova. Both my brothers went there. My mom went there for a little bit. She never graduated. She worked in the athletic department. And then she got this big job kind of running the student union building and events on campus. So she was a made woman. And that was pretty cool too, because my mom grew up, she was a housewife. She can try to spin it any way she wants. She was an amazing homemaker and the most loving mom in the world. But she got an opportunity to go back to work at Villanova. I mean, I was in third grade, right? So why not just let the wild stallion run? My brother Michael will tell you that I was coming home to 3 fingers of Glenlivet scotch when I was in third grade. That is not true. But I was a latchkey child, although my mom debates that. Both my parents were at work. I came home and I let myself in and would do whatever, which was usually video games and running outside and playing sports if I wasn't involved in sports. Anyways, I have a deep passion for Villanova. Having the opportunity to get to know all the coaches there at one time or another, and Jay Wright is on the Mount Rushmore of people, not just coaches. People. And, Jay, you could say, may have handpicked his successor in Kyle Neptune. And like a lot of stuff goes in the coaching world, it didn't go straight line to a championship. It went boom. And, Kyle Neptune, that may have been too much too soon for that guy. I don't know. He's a good coach. And I think he'll get another opportunity. It's got to be hard for a guy like that to get a big opportunity out of the gate and then, quote unquote, fail. I mean, he didn't make the tournament all 3 years. That's, you got to go, right? At a school like Villanova, who had won back-to-back championships or 2 championships in 3 years, and then tack on a Final Four a few years after that and another Final Four in 2009, about 8 years before the championship run started. So it's a university that deserves better. I don't want to say deserves better, but I think that the standard is such that you got to make the tournament and you got to make a run in the tournament. So John Rothstein reports that Kevin Willard is in the second weekend with Maryland of the NCAA tournament. This has been well documented that Maryland's athletic director, who had butt heads with Kevin Willard, left to take the job as the athletic director at SMU. Now, I would imagine that's not as good a job as being an athletic director in the Big Ten, just because there's way more money in the Big Ten than there is in the ACC, where SMU is now. Although SMU, I mean, hey, you're the AD at SMU. Maybe you're making close to $1 million. You live in Highland Park. I mean, that's pretty good living. Although, who wants to keep up with the Joneses like that? It can be a little much. Either way, their athletic director's going to SMU. So now the athletic department's sort of in flux around Kevin Willard, who wants more of a commitment to the program. It would seem to me that Kevin Willard is doing what any good businessman would do, but he's using this Villanova opportunity to negotiate with Maryland. And he's got two things going for himself right now. One, he's coaching one of the 16 programs that are still playing right now. Here we are, March 28th by the time you're watching this. And he has another job at a Power 4 conference or a Power 5 conference. I was saying Power 4. We're talking about the Big East now, so I guess it's a Power 5 job, right? Who the hell knows how that stuff goes anymore? Villanova's a big job, okay? And it's the only one left. And Kevin Willard, when the music stops, it'll be interesting to see whether he chooses to sit down at Villanova's table or Maryland's table, or who knows? Nowadays, it could be something totally different. But apparently Maryland is renegotiating or trying to renegotiate with him for $5 million a year. Right now, I think he makes like 3.9, which is not a bad bag of shekels. But waiting in the wings now, if Kevin Willard does not take the job, I would imagine, or I would hope, is Porter Moser, coach at Oklahoma right now. But I would imagine Moser's a guy of integrity. Like, the more time marches on, I would think his commitment to Oklahoma, who has remained committed to him, would only strengthen. He's a guy of great integrity, which is why I would love him for this job. Kevin Willard is also a great coach. He did very well at Seton Hall. And you've noticed now Villanova sticking to its roots still. You got Porter Moser, who's in the mix. Now I guess he's on the outside looking in, who coached at Loyola Chicago, a Catholic school, Sister Jean, that whole number. And they made a Final Four. That was in 2018. And then they advanced again to the Elite Eight, I think in 2021, the COVID year, when Baylor won the title. So this is like a great coach. And, he's made the tournament once in 3 years at Oklahoma. You could say last year when he was still in the Big 12 at Oklahoma, he got robbed. The first year, it wasn't happening for him. It was the first year of a program that he took over in the middle of COVID. And literally you're putting together a Big 12 roster over Zoom. That's tough, taking over a job to do that. So he kind of got a mulligan on the first year. A lot of coaches did, but the past 2 years, they've been very competitive, especially in the non-con before the season. And that non-con performance before the season is, I think, what that in an SEC schedule helped Oklahoma catch a bid this year. And they won, they lost in the first round to UConn, but it was a very close game, and they probably should have won that game. But I would rather see Porter Moser get the job than Kevin Willard. I feel like Kevin Willard is the hot name, and I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on Porter Moser. I think he's a tremendous coach. I think he is the perfect fit for Villanova. I think, from what I've heard from people that know some stuff, that Jay Wright has actually kind of pushed for Porter Moser to get this job. Unfortunately for Jay, the last time he did that, it was Kyle Neptune. So, there's a new AD at Villanova too. I have no idea what's around that situation, but, they need to make a hire sooner than later, because now the transfer portal is open. I looked at the players in the transfer portal, to be very clear with you, or to use the word transparent again. I don't see any guys that knock me on my ass, but maybe that's saying that I don't know enough. Josan Sannon, the kid we talked about yesterday morning from Arizona State, I mean, he was in and he was out. And I think that is, I think, what the best players do, right? They just, boom, I know where I'm going. Tucker DeVries is listed in the top 25 of portal guys, but he's going to go with his dad to Indiana. I think he has like a do not touch or whatever, leave alone sticker on him in the portal because everybody knows he's going to go play for his dad at Indiana. But Villanova needs to get this done, and they need to get it done soon. And I have a feeling that if Kevin Willard gets bounced in the first round of the tournament, or I'm sorry, in this regional, in the Sweet 16, maybe, and he plays tomorrow night or tonight, shortly thereafter, in a day or two, we could hear that he's going to Villanova, or we could hear that he's staying at Maryland. This is not Little Sisters of the Poor he's coaching now. This is not Will Wade going to the second round with McNeese, an upstart program who will never have enough money to compete in the NIL and will never be able to pay him as much money as he deserves. Maryland's in the Big Ten. They are in the DC market. They are a perennial power, or maybe you call them a perennial sleeping giant now. But Maryland has the stuff to be gangbusters. But right now, Kevin Willard feels like they're not getting the commitment they need. I think that's every coach in America. When you have an opportunity to drum up more commitment from your athletic department financially, and your NIL or your collectives, like, you'll take those opportunities. You will hold these people over the barrel as long as you can until you get what you want, because that's all it is now. It's really more than anything it's money. I mean, these kids now earn a certain amount of money, right? Through NIL deals with collectives. And the playing field has not been, it's great for the players right now, but we're also, it's out of control. It's the Wild West. And so when we finally find ourselves in the middle of the road here, that will be a possible opportunity for maybe a little more, I don't even know if parity is the word, but it's just a little bit more semblance of control, and something a little more reasonable. So I think, though, back to the point, Kevin Willard's going to do what he has to do to get as much money as he can out of Maryland. And also, if he's going to go to Villanova, to negotiate with them that he wants the right type of commitment from their NIL or collectives or however the hell we're going to do it heading into next season. I can tell you, and it is so interesting that we have no clue what he's going to do. And that's the point of this whole rap right now, and why I can't get my mind off this. Is because, like, this Villanova job is a great freaking job. It's in one of the best areas in the country for a school. Like, they have the money. Like, Villanova's NIL budget is huge. They have donors who are, from what I heard, like, ready to take money away from the program if Kyle Neptune were to continue as the head coach. Well, that's not going to be the issue, right? They're going to have a new coach. And I think that I think for the program, as far as money you will get from donors, right? And NIL folks and collectives that will help you buy these players. I don't want to say buy them, but help you compensate these players. They will probably be the most excited about Kevin Willard. I think you can really find a gear to get excited about Porter Moser. I can promise you, like, that's the kind of guy. Porter will win the press conference with Villanova, and that's important because you win commitment from folks who are going to drum up money so your program can become viable. And I think he's a great coach. Like, the guy is charisma personified, and he's been in the two best conferences in college basketball over the past 3 years. When he was in the Big 12 for his first 2 years at Oklahoma, they were hands down the best conference in college basketball. And now, at being in the SEC, he is in the best conference in college basketball, hands down. So what are you going to do, man? I mean, like, if you get Porter Moser, I'm telling you, in the Big East with Villanova's budget, it will be gangbusters. That's a promise. And I don't make those promises like, some people out there, I think, will, like, guarantee stuff just to guarantee it. I sometimes will make guarantees. And when I do that, I have a bug up my ass. But it's not like something I'm creating. And I got a bug up my ass about this Villanova coaching situation. And I feel like everybody's waiting and hanging on for Kevin Willard when Porter Moser's the guy. And I think the longer you wait on Willard, you lose an opportunity for a guy like Moser, who I think will be better right now if you line the two up side by side. So that's how we're starting this show today. Villanova needs to give the job to Porter Moser, even though they probably won't, because of a lot of stuff that are, it's like Kevin Willard versus the field. Well, okay, smart money says maybe you take the field because the odds are better, but Porter Moser is only one part of that field. So we'll have to see what happens with him. I really hope that Villanova would land on him, but if it's with Kevin Willard, that's fine. I hope it's not the other guy who doesn't have any hair, because, I'm just not a huge fan right now, like, of the body language and the demeanor and the constant complaining about road trips and whatnot. It's got nothing to do with people that don't have hair. Look, I'm getting there, okay? That's just a descriptor. All right, the Pete Sousa Show rolls on now. We're going to give you a refresher of our predictions for earlier in the week. After that segment, it's called Dealer's Choice. Scotty's the dealer. Whatever Scotty deals up, that's what we're playing with today. All right? Friday, we will be back live from the Alico Building Studios, and we will set the table for Friday night Sweet 16 games and look ahead to the weekend. We're also going to be looking at Major League Baseball. That's right. That season starts tomorrow or today or whatever the hell time you want it to be. But we're signing off now from Irvine, California. The OC. I'll say it like Matt Devlin. Welcome to the OC. Sometimes, at some point when I clear my head, because if I was somebody who was watching me, I would want to know like some of the behind-the-scenes stuff about calling these games. And I just don't take myself seriously enough to get out here and be like, well, I think I'm going to tell you all about my experience because I have this coveted position. I just can't think of myself like that. But at some point, I might have to start sharing some cool stuff that can help folks get better at broadcasting themselves, and also just some interesting stuff behind the scenes that I think I've done it so much now I don't even realize that it's a thing. But it's a thing. It's cool. I do have softball coming up this weekend, which I absolutely love. So that's cool. I got a softball series for the Big 12. So we'll keep rock and rolling here, calling games. But for the most part, we're going to be a little bit more stationary, I think, in Central Texas, because since November, I mean, it has been nonstop. I have not spent much time at home, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm getting to the Flower Mound area with my fiance and her lovely family. I'll be back and forth, and then spend some time in Philly too, go see moms. But that's it for today. Stream of consciousness is officially turning off, right? The faucet is being turned off, and we're going to restore order. Well, I don't know if order, with three of us, Jim Oaks, giving you our picks for the Sweet 16. I don't know if you call that order. Call it what you want. It's coming up next. The Pete Sousa Show presented by Slovachiks. That's all from Irvine. We send it back to our good friends in Central Texas.
We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
The grinder mentality that Randy and Brent Habert built into 44 Pro runs deep within our team. Every member shares a passion for the craft, the game, and most importantly, the player. When you step onto the field with a 44 Pro custom glove, you'll feel the difference. It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro. Are you ready to take control of your health? At 4U Health, we believe wellness and lab testing should be accessible, inclusive, and yes, fun. With our tech-powered at-home lab test, you save time and money while feeling your best. Say goodbye to long waits and office visits. Check your health on your own terms with 4U Health. Visit 4uhealth.com today and free yourself from traditional medicine. That's the number 4uhealth.com. At Angel Bliss, we believe every parent's journey is a beautiful adventure. Our mission is to make it joyful and stress-free with thoughtful, safe, and innovative products. Born from a love for family, we promise peace of mind for parents and comfort for babies. From playtime to bedtime, every Angel Bliss product is designed with care, reliability, and a style to nurture the special bond between parent and child. Angel Bliss, creating happy memories, one baby at a time. Visit us at angelbliss.us. Angel Bliss. BizChair.com, your one-stop shop for premium commercial furniture that blends quality with affordability. From ergonomic office chairs to durable restaurant seating, we cater to diverse industries including corporate, medical, hospitality, and education. With over 20 years of experience, we offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high-traffic environment. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at BizChair.com to transform your business.
And now, back to our show.
Oh boy, here we go. Nothing worse than a triple box with these guys. Look at Jack Black in the middle there. I love it.
Let's go. Triple
What's
box.
happening? All right, we got Corey Dickman back here. Corey, I know you're here to pound your chest a little bit.
A little bit.
So let's go. You want to get up? Let's get to it. Last week's picks and results.
Ooh.
I mean, that's pretty good. But the mortgage was lost.
Hey, Pete, who did you lose an important team in the tournament?
Yeah, I lost St. John's.
Oh,
I did.
So sorry.
But I do have other brackets. This is kind of a promiscuous thing to do, but I have other brackets where I don't have St. John's in the Final Four, so I'm still really intact with some of the other stuff.
All right. Good.
All right, so let's get to you want to get to this week's picks? I mean, we might as well, because Corey, once he gets going and he's out of the gate, we got to kind of wrangle him.
You got to wrangle. Let's just dive. Where do we jump in? Am I going first, Scotty?
Yeah, you're first. Yeah.
I'm first. Okay. Okay, really quick. Riverton, Utah. You ever heard of it?
No, I haven't.
Never heard of it. I actually lived in Riverton, Utah. After grad school, I moved in with my parents. Long story. But we were in Utah. You know who else is from Riverton, Utah? Richie Saunders, who's going to light it up for BYU in the Sweet 16 matchup. Richie's going to go wild in this game, Pete. BYU is a plus 4.5. They're laying points against Alabama. Alabama's look shaky against in their first two round games. BYU comes in, they're going to win the game, but we're going to take the plus 4.5 just for the sake of our record here. Richie Saunders, Alabama, they don't play defense, Pete. They don't play defense. BYU doesn't really either, but it's okay. They're going to come on top of this game. And an extra little tidbit, and I didn't send this to Scotty, so it's not Scotty's fault. I take the over here. The over is 175.5 points. Both these teams are going to score 85 or more. They're going to go wild in points. I would go over 175.5 as well.
All right, so I like the over as well. That's nice.
I would hit BYU 4.5 and then over. Second game, this one I'm shaky on, but I think the Duke Blue Devils are going to be in a close game here against Arizona. One thing here, so Pete and Scotty, if I were, let's say, in a league with a bunch of third graders, let's say Corey and third graders, would I average like 100 points a game?
I would hope so.
I probably would.
I don't know that you're in good enough shape, but I think
you don't think I could keep up and down the court?
You got to go up and down.
I think I'd be like Shaq, though. I would just be all over this.
You'd be boxing out a bunch of 9-year-olds.
I'd be boxing out a bunch of 9-year-olds. Yeah. This is similar when we look at look at Duke. They're killing everybody. You know what their net rating was? Strength of schedule 60. They didn't play anybody. It'd be like me playing third graders. Arizona is 8th. They had to go through the Big 12. They've had tough matchups. And Caleb Love, he's going to have one more really good game, and it's going to be against Duke. Plus 8.5 Arizona Wildcats. They're going to hang with them. I don't know if they're going to win, but they're going to hang with them.
I like that pick, by the way.
They're going to hang. Yeah. I know Duke went all over our Baylor Bears, and, that's fine. It's okay. We don't want to talk about it. but I think Arizona keeps this close, and Caleb Love keeps it close.
I like that pick a lot. I
Okay.
like Arizona a lot. I actually have them in that bracket. I have them beating Duke. So go ahead, keep going.
Okay, and then final one, riding the team that I think is going to win the whole tournament, not Purdue. Houston, not Arizona. Houston Cougars -7.5. They got to win this game by 8 points. But Houston, offensively, defensively, they're a great team all around. Purdue, they're happy to be here. Okay, they'll be close. Like all these Sweet 16 games, they're probably going to be close, but they will falter down the stretch. Our boy, who did I say? My mother-in-law, Sharp, all the way. She was riding him. They're going to win this game by
Emmanuel Sharp.
13 points. Houston wins by 13.
I look. I hope you're right. I worry sometimes that Houston plays. They can drag you to the mud a little bit. So I have a little bit of fear around that. But look. You look at how badly they beat you. You called that first game. That was one of your victories.
Yeah.
Houston won by 100 in that first round game. So why not ride them? I like that.
I just think when a team is really balanced, especially towards the end of a game, they'll get those cheap stops. They'll hit their free throws, and a 4 or 5 point game turns into an 8 or 9 point game, and they're going to cover. It might be a back end cover, but they're going to cover.
Now, do you have a mortgage bet?
Mike? Yeah. Okay. Mike Nelson said this week he wasn't sure. He was questioning me a little bit, so I didn't have a mortgage bet. But if I'm going to pick a really off the top of my head, let's do this. Let's go Houston. Remember, it's 5-point tees. So let's take Houston down to -2.5. Okay. And then the over-under we talked about for BYU, Alabama, we tease that 5 points. So that would be 170.5 points. So we tease that down. That's the mortgage bet for efficient lending. Mike Nelson, we're going to get your money back this week. We get your money back.
Yeah, but Mike's the thing about Mike is his name and his company is being mentioned in a block where we just went 8-2. Let me do the math.
11-4.
11-4 overall
last week.
I mean, I think we did pretty good thanks to you guys.
No, for sure.
One game above 500.
Scotty killed it. Hey, Pete, you were above 500.
I was.
You're at that 66% win rate, which is what you need to, make sure you stay in Vegas. So you're fine.
All right,
worries.
Scotty, you do your picks. I'm pulling up special odds here. I got. Go ahead.
Okay, my picks. Here we go. Here's one that I found really interesting, and I didn't want to touch this game, and then I really did. So, Kentucky, the 3 seed, has already defeated
overrated. But I think the Big 12 has shown that they can stand toe-to-toe with this conference.
Well, and if you look at, like, if Iowa State was healthy, I think they beat Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And so then now you have 6 from the SEC, 5 from the Big 12. That's a lot closer than 4 and 7. And that's just that one
especially
game.
when you consider how many got in.
Yeah.
It was what, 14 to
14
7?
got in. 14 got in.
But how many from the Big 12? 8?
I think 7.
7.
7?
Got in. Yeah. And West
So the
Virginia
3 that didn't make it to the Sweet 16 was Baylor, Iowa State,
Kansas.
Kansas
lost in the
and
first
Iowa
round.
State should have made it, but whatever. They had an injury.
Yeah. All right. Hey, can I say one thing from last week? Because I made this pick, and then I listened to the show the next day, and Pete was like, "Oh, Kentucky's gonna roll Troy." You know, that game was very close.
But
okay?
you were wrong.
Well, no, but what are you talking about? It was Troy. Do you know what the score was, Pete? At the hold on, I just had this pulled
Corey,
up.
you said they were going to win outright.
I just had this pulled up. At the hold on. With 13 minutes to go, Troy's down 6. They could have easily gone on a run and win that game. Kentucky got lucky.
Did Troy cover the spread? Yes. They did.
I would just like to say the 2 biggest bracket busters over the weekend were McNeese and New Mexico, and I picked them both on this show last week.
No, that was excellent work. That was Scotty. Yeah, the
That
McNeese
was.
call was very good. It's like you were seeing the future.
I was with you, Scotty, on McNeese, and then I heard the morning of the tournament their coach was leaving. He literally took another job, and I was like, they're not going to play for him now. There's no way. Well,
they did, and that was amazing what Will Wade was able to do. I think that shows the new era we're in. He was totally transparent. I'm taking another job. I want to be honest with you guys. You guys play well today. You can get yourself another job somewhere, making more money. It's the new frontier, Dickman. Right?
Maybe you're right. Maybe he said, "Look, guys, we win this game. I'm taking 3 of you with me. All you getting 300,000." Maybe that's what it was.
By the way, did you see the kid from West Virginia, Emmett Matthews? He was on their team a few years ago. He said, McNeese equipment guy, McNeese manager got more NIL than I did. LOL. It's true.
It's so fast. How quickly he was on commercials, like the next day, was doing ad reads.
The Insomnia Cookies one, they did like a whole ad. It was like legit. It was like very well done. Yeah.
My favorite moment though from the last day of the tournament, the Maryland game, when Queen hits that game-winning floater. When they asked him like, "You play for it?" He's like, "Well, he pays us. You know, he pays us. He writes our checks for their coach." It's like, okay. We in a different time.
Look, it is a great time of the year, and it's a different time. Anything else?
That's it, man.
Efficient lending.
Efficient lending. Mike Nelson. Give him a call.
Thank you very much. And Mike has all the – I mean, you want to talk about information. Go ahead, check it out. He's got a YouTube page. He has a podcast. Mike's the man. All right, we're going to step aside. Come back. You've got our picks. We'll be accountable. We'll revisit them next week before we get into our Final Four stuff. This is the Pete Sousa Show, presented by Slovakia.
We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
Founded in 1910, Samsonite is the world leader in durable, high-quality luggage and travel accessories. Made to the highest standards, our products won't let you down. We give you the confidence to get out there and explore. Inspired by the past, devoted to the present, and built to inspire a multi-generational future, Samsonite is here to elevate your journey. Travel with Samsonite and pack confidence every step of the way. Shop now at shop.samsonite.com. Samsonite. Dive into adventure with Scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. With over 20 years of experience, our expert staff, who've dived everywhere from the Galapagos to the Maldives, provides personalized advice to help you find the perfect gear for any underwater journey. Shop leading brands like GoPro, Aqualung, and Scuba Pro. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust Scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at Scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. At Terrapin Ridge Farms, they believe in the joy of effortless entertaining. Inspired by CEO Mary O'Donnell's mom and her legendary holiday parties, they've crafted a line of gourmet foods that turn any meal into a celebration. From savory jams to mustards, aiolis, and more, their products are made with love, bringing unforgettable flavors to your table. Whether it's a casual get-together or a special occasion, they make it easy to impress. Terrapin Ridge Farms, where great food and great memories come together. Visit them at terrapinridge.com. Terrapin Ridge. Want to turn your passion into profit? With Blogify, creating a blog has never been easier. Build, customize, and grow your site with powerful tools designed for beginners and pros alike. Start sharing your story today and watch your audience grow with Blogify. Visit blogify.ai today for a free 3-day trial. That's Blogify, Blogify.ai today.
And now, back to our show.
We got Matt Freeman standing by in the bullpen. Pete Sousa. We are live in Manhattan Beach. Basketball game tonight, UC Irvine, UAB, ESPN2, NIT. I'll be on the call. And, of course, Matt is waiting in the wings now. He's ready to go because his game, the first game on the docket on Thursday, Alabama and BYU. Matt, your work with Vanquish the Foe is remarkable, and I love your deep dives into these films, and it's cool to talk with you about this. The matchup in itself, Alabama and BYU, what sets up for BYU to be able to win and pull off the upset? What do you like about the matchup?
Yeah. I mean, Alabama is they're a good offensive team, right? Like that's what they do. They get up and down. And I was watching a few of their games and just the pace that they play at, like even St. Mary's, who likes to slow the game down. I was watching the first half of that game. And they just get up the floor, makes, misses, which is great. I love that type of basketball. And it's kind of interesting because, Coach Young at BYU here early in the season, especially in the Big 12, as we started, ramping up significantly the level of defense that we were facing after that soft non-conference schedule, he was really trying to get the team to play faster. He's like, hey, we got to pick it up. We got to play faster. And so I know Alabama loves to play at that pace, and BYU metrics-wise isn't a super high-paced team, but that's a pace that I think BYU is really comfortable with. That's something that they want to run with people. They're always, you look over at the sideline, the coaches are always like, go, 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 after every rebound, after every make. And so that I think sets up pretty well. It's a bit of a strength-on-strength thing, right? Like everybody's been talking about. The offenses are kind of just, let's see who can get more points, make more shots, and we'll see which defenses can hold up. So I think pace is one of the things that actually sets up pretty well for this BYU team to kind of counterattack. I was watching the Missouri game earlier that just kind of crazy 110-98, just flying up and down, both teams just kind of scoring buckets over and over again. So I think that's one thing that is actually going to really help BYU to push them to play faster, to get downhill more. And then Alabama, usually sets up. They threw in a little bit of kind of showing at the ball screen with St. Mary's. St. Mary's is so ball screen dominant that they wanted to shake that up. BYU can get there. If you're going to give it to them, they're going to run ball screen over and over. They started the game Wisconsin running a ton of ball screens. And then as the game evolves, they really will just see what you're doing. And then they're going to throw some other stuff at you. To see what you do. So their base ball screen coverage for Bama a lot of times is this deep drop that BYU loves to attack, especially the pairing of Dallin Hall and Fus Troyore, who Dallin will come off. He'll try to get the defender in jail. Fus will drive and dive right into the big and kind of try and seal him low for either a dump off or a layup for Dallin. And they've got really good chemistry for that. So I think there's a few things, even schematically, that BYU can get to offensively. And it definitely, it seems like what a lot of people are saying, right? First to 90 might win, first to 100 might win. There might be a ton of points going up tomorrow.
But that's a lot of fun. Like you said, that's kind of basketball we love. And so that would be a great way. I mean, even for the tournament itself and for CBS and Turner and all those properties to have a real exciting game to start things off on Thursday night. How different is this? Because I think it's a really cool time, especially with Utah just hiring Alex Jensen. I think there's a lot to be said for the work that Kevin Young has done, just so quickly implementing like that NBA sort of mindset and, all the things about his program that mirror, right, pro basketball. What have you noticed on the floor has been different with BYU's attack and what they do this year? It's different from what they did with Mark Pope. That's been successful for them. That comes from, maybe some of that NBA language that Coach Young speaks.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a difference. This team's roster upgraded in a few ways. It was really rough losing all the people we lost. We'd love to keep Jackson Robinson. We'd love to keep Noah Waterman, Ali Khalifa. But the way they were able to build the roster, one of the biggest things is having a talent like Jaeger Demon. Dallin Hall is a great point guard. Jaeger Demon, great point guard. Both of them being able to run the show, the whole time has been really helpful for what Kevin Young wants to do. And then I think, there's just an attention to detail. Coach Pope was great at it. He did really good, obviously last year. And then this year, Kevin Young as well kind of continues that, being able to say, okay, this team's guarding a certain way. I'll catch them in that way, and it's an interesting thing with this year's team. They started off, the Big 12 so slow, were just getting in their own way, trying to wins. And I think part of that was a chemistry issue with a lot of the new roster players. But then they really started.
What happened at that point in time? Like around, I think it was maybe January 18th or February 18th, or when everything changed.
Yeah. So they had a little bit of mojo. They had just beaten. I can't remember who they just beaten at home. It might have been Baylor actually. Just had this great game, kind of like we might see tomorrow. Just high scoring, really exciting game. And then they went over to Cincinnati and they just got beat up at Cincinnati. Competitive first half, and then the second half, Cincinnati just said, "We're going to do whatever we want on both sides of the floor." And then you're in this West Virginia game right after that, kind of a tough swing coming out all the way from Utah to go Cincinnati to West Virginia.
Yo, dude, what a reminder of right now going through like the rigors of a Big 12 schedule.
Yeah,
I'm already exhausted again. It's almost like the tournament's easier.
And it's crazy, in West Virginia, stingy defense. They lost their best offensive player, but they were still good. They were beating good teams there, especially there in Morgantown. And this first half that just was like, oh no, is this going to be another one of those games? This could be like TCU where we just can't figure it out and we lose, But they just found something in that second half. And in the post game, they talked about a little bit where they were just kind of like, guys, like, if we're going to win, like, we just have to take it to the next level. Like, we have to do everything more physical. We have to push back more. We have to fight on the glass more. Everything we do has to be done better. And they did it, and they embrace it, and kind of, the rest is history a little bit there, right? Like, they've only lost one game since, which is crazy in a league like this. They've gone up against good defenses. They played West Virginia again. They played Kansas. They played Iowa State twice and beat them. And so it's interesting seeing that, because they were trying to find their way. And then I think, a combination, of just buckling down on some of those details. They played a little bit faster. Kansas State, their first 8 points were off of fast breaks, off of a make or a miss. They started cleaning up the glass better. They weren't getting pushed around on the glass as much. There were times where they were disconnected between the big would box out his man and the guard wouldn't, or the guard would get his man and then the big wouldn't, right? And then they kind of brought that all together. So I think it's interesting watching it, because schematically they didn't change a ton. They were still trying to hit the same things offensively, defensively. They just kind of started doing it all better. And I think it was that switch that turned to West Virginia. They did those things. They locked in. They got that big win, first quad win of the year. Had to pull it out late and grind it out. And then just from there, I think, everything just clicked for them. They said, oh, you know what? Like, we like playing this way. It's fun to go get somebody. You watch guys like Trevin Nell that drive some people crazy because he's hitting people off the ball. He's hitting people on the glass. Dallin Hall as well. And the whole team kind of upped their physicality to match what was needed to get some of those wins later when maybe the offense wasn't doing so well.
And it's funny, because talking to people around the Big 12 last year, especially when Utah started, they just had a rough year in their first go at it in the Big 12, maybe overall. And I was asking somebody, one of the analysts I work with, why was BYU able to make a smooth transition last year and Utah hasn't been able to? And they mentioned the physicality that BYU played with last year. And they lost a little bit of that out of the gate this year with roster turnover. And, it didn't take them long to get it back. And, you still have a guy like Dallin Hall to kind of lead that movement. And when a leader at the top of your roster is doing it, then it kind of trickles down, right? It's been really cool to see the change. One of the biggest changes this year, Matt, like, I need you to tell me what happened to Richie Saunders? Did he go to like Germany and like one of those things like with Kobe or like LeBron? Like the guy he's gone from a role player on a very good BYU team last year. You can say a strong BYU team to now people are talking about him being a first-round NBA draft pick.
Yeah. I mean, it's been amazing to see. And you saw sparks of it last year. And when you talk about physicality, like he's the one that kind of carries the team as well in that point. Like he's just always go. I'm going to get downhill. I'm going to, push you off a little bit if you're crowding my space as I'm driving. He was a little inconsistent with his shot last year from 3-point land. And you started to see dial it in towards the end of the year last year. He started to have some really good games from 3. And that carried over to this year. And then I think, just another year, I'm sure having a staff and continuing that player development, just different coaches see different things, right? So you get someone else who maybe has a different angle on something and is able to point out something that you haven't pointed out before. And then I think the thing about Richie is he is the perfect player to play off advantages. And when you have a playmaker like Jaeger Demon, who's creating those advantages, who can find people who can play. And then when you have, a style and the sets that they like to go to, the way they use the angles to run him off of stuff, if you give Richie a head of steam, that's all he needs, and once he has a head of steam, once he has an advantage, he's just going to take it. So I think they were trying to find themselves earlier this year, right? Who's going to be the one that takes all the shots? And I think Richie just stepped up and said, I'm going to be the guy that takes the shots. And he wasn't able to do that by the staff. And he stepped right into it and just started making a bunch of shots, right? And never really slowed down. It's been amazing to see what he does. It's kind of I think he had 25 against Wisconsin. And I was kind of like, oh wait, Richie has 25. Like, that's crazy. Like you feel his, his impact on the game all throughout. Cause he's such a high motor player. But then sometimes you look at it and you go, oh man, like he's been stacking these points the whole game. And by the end of it, it's like, without Richie, who's really been that stabilizing force the whole year. And then they've continued to find ways to put him in advantageous positions. He's a great player to play with an advantage. He might not be, he's not the greatest isolation player. His handle could tighten up a little bit, but when you give him a little bit of an advantage, that's all he needs is a tiny bit. And he's driving right through someone's chest, either going right up or multiple, pivots in the lane to find either hand to finish on. So it's been awesome to see.
You know what I noticed too, like down the stretch in the season, there was that game at Arizona where it's like, Richie got that call, right? When Trey Townsend did it down. But then the very next game you guys were playing, I think it was the very next game on the road at Iowa State. And he draws another call late. And at some point it's like, okay, this isn't so much about bad reffing or bad defense. This dude's getting calls. He's putting himself in positions to receive favorable calls from referees. Like, that is a skill unto itself. Yeah.
And he's done a great job at that. He plays so downhill that I think he's started to learn that. I joked with one of the games, it might have been Iowa State, that he's finally taken the last step of his offensive evolution. He's become a foul baiter, right? But in that game, he didn't really, he was getting fouled. Iowa State's a physical team. But he shot 13 free throws, I think, in that game. I think he was 13 for 13. But I think he's really just embodied that, I'm going to get downhill. And that's something BYU's kind of lacked in the past at times is, we get in these end of game situations and it's like, let's just get someone going downhill and see if we can get some free throws out of it. And, the Arizona game, the Iowa State game, it worked.
First Sweet 16 since 2011 for BYU. How, or does this at all set up for the Cougars to make a run to the Final Four?
Yeah, I think, they just keep doing what they do, right? So at this point, it's like you kind of feel silly not believing in them, especially if you're a fan of the team, right? Because they just keep beating good teams, and they do it in a variety of ways. The formula is about the same. But, no matter, VCU hit 15 threes, BYU wins, Tonje goes for 37, BYU wins. Curtis Jones turned into Steph Curry for 7 minutes in the Big 12 tournament. BYU found a way to win, so it's almost right now as a fan, it's great because we're feeling super high on this team. It's like, what can't we do? Why not go to the Final Four, right? And Alabama sets up to be a decent matchup. They are solid defensively, but I think BYU can get to some stuff. And BYU has shown, even against, as long as your name's not Houston, we kind of joke sometimes over in kind of on BYU Twitter, as long as you're not Houston, BYU is going to find a way to put 80 points on you. So it'll be really interesting.
By the way, so does everybody else in the Big 12. Arizona. Tommy Lloyd literally says the same thing.
Right. They're such a tough team. But, Duke is going to be a huge, obviously, as everybody's saying, Duke is it might be Duke's tournament to lose. They're so good offensively and defensively, and that type of pairing, as good as the Big 12 was, those teams that are good offensively and defensively, BYU hasn't seen that much, and so that obviously would be the big challenge. No surprise there, but yeah, at this point, we're like, this team just keeps finding ways to win, so we're just going to keep enjoying the ride, and why not go to the Final Four?
Why not us, baby? Matt Freeman, thank you so much, basketball analyst and Vanquish the Foe. Matt, I'd love to have you back if we can get a BYU win. So let's make it happen.
Sure, yeah. Sounds great.
Yeah, you do a great job, and I really appreciate the time, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me, and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internex.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. At Acasis, innovation drives us. Since 2008, we've been creating cutting-edge technology products that make your life easier. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today. We are Rogue Media Sports.